Welcome back to Balancing Equations. We have reached double replacement. A double replacement reaction is when you have two ionic compounds and the ions switch places to form two new ionic compounds. Okay. When you are balancing ionic compounds, keep your ions together. Keep your cations all together and your anions. What I mean by that is you may run into polyatomic ions, and you want to keep those together. In this instance, I have ions formed from a single atom. So I just need to balance the elements in here. As always, we don't change the subscripts. We can only change the coefficients. I'm going to write all of my elements down the middle and keep track of them on both sides. So on the reactant side, I have 1 aluminum, 3 bromine, 1 mercury, 2 chlorine. On this side, I have 1 aluminum, 3 chlorine, 1 mercury, and 2 bromine. So I'm going to jump down to bromine. The first common product of 2 and 3 is 6. So I'm going to multiply this side by 3. I'm going to find bromine, put a 3 in front of it. That changes bromine, but it also changes mercury. Okay? On this side, I need to multiply 3 by 2. So I'm going to find bromine. I'm going to put a 2 in front of it. That changes bromine to 6. But I also need to multiply aluminum by 2. So now I've got 2 aluminum. Now aluminum's not balanced on this side. So I would need to balance this by multiplying this by 2. Multiply it by 2. I put a 2 in front of that, changes aluminum to 2, but it also changes chlorine to 6. Okay. I've got 1 mercury and 2 chlorine. I need to get to 6 and 3. So if I multiply this by 3, I put a 3 in front of it, it changes mercury to 3. 3 times 2 gives me 6. So now I should be balanced. Let's double check our work. 2 aluminum, 2 aluminum. 2 times 3 is 6 bromine, 6 bromine. 3 mercury, 3 mercury. 3 times 2 is 6. 2 times 3 is 6. So we are balanced. All right, in this one I've got iron, sulfur, hydrogen, and chlorine. 1 of each on this side. I've got 2 and 2 here, and 1 of each of those. So to balance hydrogen on this side, I would need to multiply it by 2. Find hydrogen. It also changes chlorine to 2. And once I put a 2 there, I'm balanced. Just because I don't have other numbers here doesn't mean I have 0. I have 1. You can put a 1 there, or leave it on, or leave it empty. Let's double check. 1 iron, 1 iron, 1 sulfur, 1 sulfur. 2 hydrogen, 2 hydrogen, 2 chlorine, 2 chlorine. I am balanced. All right, in this problem, I have a polyatomic OH. So I'm going to keep OH together. So I've got calcium, bromide, potassium, and I'm going to keep that OH together. If OH is not in parentheses, you have 1. If OH is in parentheses, you have more than 1. So I have 1 calcium, 2 bromide, 1 potassium, 1 hydroxide. 1 calcium, 2 hydroxides, 1 bromine, and 2 potassium, or 1 potassium. So to get 2 on this side, I would need to multiply this by 2. I'm going to put a 2 in front of there. That changes bromide to 2, but it also changes potassium to 2. Okay. I need to get 2 potassium on the reactant side. So I'm going to multiply potassium by 2. find potassium, put a 2 in front of it, changes potassium to 2, but it also changes hydroxide to 2. 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. I am balanced. Let's double check. 1 calcium, 2 bromide, 2 bromide, 2 potassium, 2 potassium, 2 hydroxides, 2 hydroxides. So I am balanced. We're going to do the same thing here with nitrate, but it's not just H and O, it's 3 O's. So I'm going to keep calcium together. I'm going to keep everything inside the parentheses together. So I've got NO3. I'm going to keep that whole ion together, hydrogen and chlorine. I've got 1 calcium, but I've got 2 nitrates. It's in parentheses, and there's a 2 outside the parentheses, 1 and 1. On this side, I have 1 calcium, only 1 nitrate. NO3 is all together. I only have 1 of them. It's not inside parentheses. 1 hydrogen and 2 chlorine. So I need 2 on this side. I'm going to multiply this by 2. Find this, put a 2 in front of it. That changes your nitrate to 2, but it also changes your hydrogen to 2. So now I need to get 2 hydrogen on this side. I need to multiply this by 2. Find your hydrogen, put a 2 in front of it, changes hydrogen to 2, but it also multiplies that chlorine by 2. So 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. 1 calcium, 1 calcium. 2 nitrates, 2 nitrates. 2 hydrogens, 2 hydrogens, 2 chlorines, 2 chlorines. I am balanced. All right, I've got 2 polyatomics here. Silver is attached to nitrate, so I'm going to keep NO3 together. I've got potassium, but I've also got phosphate, PO4. So I'm going to keep that together as well. I've got 1, 1, 3 potassium. PO4 is one whole thing. It's not in parentheses, so I only have 1 of them. In fact, none of these are in parentheses. So I have 1 potassium, 1 nitrate, 3 silver. That 3 only applies to the silver, and 1 phosphate. So I need to multiply this side by 3. Find silver. I'm going to put a 3 in front of there. That changes silver to 3, but it also changes nitrate to 3. I need to get 3 on this side. Find nitrate, put a 3 in front of it. That changes nitrate to 3, but it also changes potassium to 3. 3, 3, 1, 1, I am balanced. 3 silver, 3 silver. 3 nitrate, 3 nitrate. 3 potassium, 3 potassium. Let me fix that 3. There we go. 1 phosphate, so not in parentheses, 1 phosphate. So in that instance, we're keeping both of our polyatomics. If we didn't do that, oxygen would be all over the place, and keeping track of oxygen would be really difficult. All right, we're going to do the same thing here. I've got a sodium ion. I've got a hydroxide ion. I've got a hydrogen ion. And I've got a sulfate ion. That is a hydrogen ion and a hydroxide ion. So we're going to keep those. We're going to separate those out. I've got 1, 1, 2. SO4 is not in parentheses, so I only have 1. On this side I have 2 sodium. That's not in parentheses, so I only have 1. That hydrogen is counted as a separate ion from the OH, which is 1. So on this side I need 2 sodium. I'm going to find sodium, put a 2 there. That changes sodium to 2, but it also changes hydroxide to 2. I need to get 2 hydroxides on this side. There's my hydroxide. I put 2 in front of there. It changes my hydroxide to 2, but it also changes my hydrogen to 2, which balances out my hydrogen. Sulfates are already balanced, so those would be 1. 2 sodium, 2 sodium, 2 hydroxides, 2 hydroxides, 2 hydrogen, 2 hydrogen, 2 sodium, 1 sulfate, 1 sulfate. All right. You may have to go from name to formula. So in name to formula, we're going to underline all of our substances and then convert them from name to formula. These are all ionic compounds. I know that because I don't see any prefixes like mono or di or tri or anything like that. I do see Roman numerals. Those are going to give me the charge of the element it follows. Your cation's always first, your anion's always second. Look for things that end in 8. If they're 8, they're going to be a polyatomic ion. So let's figure out our ions. We've got lithium. Lithium is a +1. Sulfur is a negative ion. It needs 2. The ratio between those two would be I need 2 lithium for every 1 sulfur. Okay. Iron, they tell me the charge. It's a +2. Phosphate is one of my polyatomics. It's PO4 -3. Those don't zero out. So I would need 3 irons for every, I'm going to put phosphate in parentheses, 2 phosphates. Okay? Lithium, +1. I already figured out phosphate is a -3. So I would need 3 lithium and only 1 phosphate. If you only need 1 phosphate, you don't need to put it in parentheses. Iron is a +2. Sulfur is a -2. They zero out, so I would just need 1 of each. All right. I'm going to keep track of my ions. I've got lithium, sulfur, iron, and that polyatomic phosphate. On this side, I've got 2 lithium, 1 sulfur, 3 iron, and 2 phosphate. I'm going to take that number outside the parentheses. This side, I've got 3 lithium, 1 phosphate, 1 iron, and 1 sulfur. First common product of 2 and 3 is 6. So I'm going to multiply this side by 2. I'm going to put a 2 in front. That changes lithium to 6, and it changes phosphate to 2. On this side, I'm going to multiply this side by 3, so I'm going to find lithium. I'm going to put a 3 in front of there. That changes lithium to 6, but it also changes sulfur to 3. So I need to get 3 sulfur over here. I would need to multiply this by 3. Find sulfur, put a 3 in front of it, changes sulfur to 3, and it changes iron to 3. So I got 6, 6, 3, 3, 3, 3, 2, 2. 6 lithium, 6 lithium. 3 sulfur, 3 sulfur. 3 iron, 3 iron. 2 phosphate, 2 phosphate. I hope this helps. Please check out the other videos if you're having problems balancing any other types of reactions.